put you in the fire from the corner. Stay there. Don't come out because you want to be. We shake hands. Good luck to both of you.
So Tony Sibson came in the ring with a fine mist of sweat on him, really warmed up in the dressing room for this one, becoming very professional. And there's Don Lee, 6'2", and self-named Dangerous Don Lee from Gary, Indiana, and known in the trade as a bit of a banger. So Sibson's got to look out. But he sharpened his punches and wits in Florida. Hopefully learned from the defeat by Hagler, and had 2 good wins since then. At 25, he still has a bit of time on his side, and that's a decent ally in the boxing business. Sibson, very popular in America, scored a sensational 2-rounds win over John Collins in this ring, so he has quite a lot of support. But the difficulty is going to be trying to get himself inside these long arms of Lee, known as a switcher. Means that he switches stance occasionally. His trainer, Don Jacobs, actually wants him to box as a southpaw, but he's come out at the start orthodox, and we'll see if he switches. Dancing around the perimeter there, referee Tony Perez from New York handled one of the Ali and Frazier fights. And certainly Lee can punch a bit. All his victories, 19 of them, have been KOs or TKOs, but he has been beaten in the first round. Sibson then trying to find his way in there. Doesn't like to wait too much for scouting reports in the opening round. Fires from the hip right away. There you go, he gets inside well there, but he's got to counter when he slips inside and not lead with his chin. Oh, left hook's going through. That's how he nailed Collins. And I suppose after Marvin Hagler, nobody's punches can seem that bad again. But this fellow's height must be troublesome, and his reach is longer than some heavyweights. 5'7", Sibson against 6'2½". And it's scheduled for 10 rounds. Oh, what a good shot there. His legs just went a bit. Picking the left hook well, Sibson. 3 judges. Referee doesn't score should it go the distance, but I would have thought that was unlikely, with both known for punching power. And Sibson can put a bit of stick about on his best nights. Oh, what a good shot that was. Is he going to do it early against Sibson? It'll be a mandatory 8 count. That'll knock a little bit of the wind out of the sails, but he could just get over this round, and it'll be nice for him to hear the bell. So that really did Lee a favour. So the replay of that punch then. Slips inside, and it's right at the end. It's not even a short left hook, so that's more shock than pain there. Into the second round, and he switched to southpaw, Lee, as I thought he may. I must say that always confuses me. My family were boxing instructors, amateurs and pros, and they always hated switches. They thought it confused them more than the opponents. But I suppose he's a bit desperate now, having taken that knockdown. So Sibson well on top. But he jabs solidly, Lee. 23. One of those characters who hangs around the gymnasiums in the States, does a bit of damage. Not well known, because really big name fighters don't fancy going in with him. The best rating I could find in any of the lists was number 16. Looking sharp, Sibson now, just moving the head about, calls from the corner to roll the head. This fellow's reach is a bit dangerous, and he's really come back well in the second, trying to take the play away from Sibson. And there's one thing certainly Sibson's learned, having fought the world champion Hagler, that it's better to give than receive in this game. And it looks, doesn't it, as though Sibson's really fired himself up for it. Even though he's got his girlfriend and young baby staying at the sands here. When Sibson is lazy, he sometimes moves as if he's underwater, but he's not doing that here. He weighed 11 stone 9, 3 pounds over the limit. And Dynamite Lee, 11.7 3/4. I have to be impressed with anybody who gets over a shot like that and comes back and doing his share of punching in the second round, and this American's no mug. What an awkward start he's got. I can imagine Sibson saying, hello, what have I got here? Switch his stance, and it's going to be a job getting inside these broomstick arms. It doesn't seem to be overawed Lee at all. Sibson really got to step up now with firepower. I always like that remark. Somebody called there, he didn't like that. Well, who would? Any kind of punch coming in from Sibson. Good punches to the body. He's trying to bring the opponent's guard down a bit. Sure, countdown then for the second. And in this game, toughness is not always related to winning.
You're moving to this gas inside. Move to the gas outside. When you're this way down, move to the gas outside. You're moving to the gas inside. You see what I mean?
Round 3. Really some crazy corner talk going on there, sort of jive gymnasium stuff, and I just hope that Lee understood his man. So settled down to a really good contest now, and Sibson not impetuous. He's becoming an old pro. He's had 54 fights, remember, and he's won 49 and drawn 1. Only Hagler and Lottie Mawali have had him over. Solid stuff coming in from Sibson. Always seems just a little bit of danger in Lee's punches as well. I think Sibson knows it. He's trying not to be too reckless. You can't hang your chin out in this business. Life really does get tough at the top, because he's still in the top 3 of the world rankings. And, sounds like there's some concern coming from Sibson's cornermen. A little bit hesitant midway through the third. Oh, what a shot that was. The southpaw left hand. Sibson was not only hurt, but shocked and surprised. Mickey Duff and George Francis almost took that punch with him, I think. Wiping the gloves, calling him on. Lee really very composed. What a good class fighter when he's got his man in trouble. What a turn up for Sibson this is. And again, there's no 3-round knockdown in effect here. If one man goes down 3 times in a round, it is not in effect in New Jersey. He looks as though he's pulled himself together okay. He knows what's going on, but he's really got to get himself tucked up behind the gloves and elbows there. Can Lee bring off the first sensation of the new year? Sibson almost rooted to the canvas in the third. He's got plenty of heart. He'll fight his way out of it, but he's having more trouble than he can handle now. And it looks like the third knockdown. It's just as well, but he taps the referee on the back to say, hey, I'm up okay. But he's got to go through the motion of the 8 count there. That's actually done Sibson a favour. And that's one bell he was pleased to hear. Let's have a look at the replay then. That long hand, and you'll watch this left hand coming over from Lee. Bingo, right on the side of the jaw, and over he went. into the fourth round, and really Sibson's cornermen there, George Francis and Mickey Duff, and the manager Sam Burns behind them, have really had to get this fellow off the stool with a confident move. You've been down, but you've also had him down, they were saying. So come on, let's get back to basics, as though it's the first round all over again, and set about the business. But obviously, Lee's the one now who's confident. In most other rings in America, with those 3 knockdowns, he'd have been an automatic winner. So, as I say, you may not have heard of this fellow. In fact, it's hard to check him out, but he knows the business all right. Most of his fighting in the Midwest. And if you're wondering really why Sibson has taken this fight, because he's got a fight coming up with Louis Akaras for the European Championship due in Paris next month, for which he's getting almost £100,000. And if he loses this, he's got to take an automatic pay cut. I think it's my old line about boxing being a thing of booty, and he's getting over 50,000 for this, so how can you blame him? That's good bread. And there the cornermen looking almost as anxious as Sibson. Sometimes it's just as tough to fight outside the ring as it is inside. I suspect that Sibson really would like to roughly up a bit, but he knows that if he wades in, he can get tagged. That's really evidence of that, all right, and I must say that that nickname Dangerous bore some truth. So points-wise, there's very little in it. Lee was behind at the start, made it up in the third. Now not only guts and power, but a little battle of wits coming in there as well. Sibson back in again, trying to unload the left hook. Good uppercut. If you can get through the guard with that, that's the dangerous punch. That one there. Looks as though he's taken it away from Lee again now. Got the confidence back. Sometimes Sibson's easygoing temperament goes against him, but when he's in this fiery mood, he takes a bit of beating. Countdown then to round 4. And he's done well this round. He's got over the knockdown well. And Sibson looks at there and says, well, that wasn't so bad, was it? Very casual look about him.
That was great. No, you're all right, okay? As long as you keep your head down and don't lay your head back. As long as you tap. As long as you tap. That was a good round, Tony. Right. You're all right now.
We're going great.
Yeah, it's all right. No, I ain't going to go great. No. Don't worry. You won't let me go.
No way.
Let me do that. Get a grip here. Turn him up.
Fifth round, and what a good remark that was. Sibson could actually find time to have a crack there at Mickey Duff, saying you're going grey, if he worries about him too much. That often happens in fighters' corners. It's not always as serious as it may seem. As you saw there, he hasn't been past 5 rounds, Lee. So the men in Sibson's corner there, the closest to the seat of power, as it were. Francis and Duff looks as though they've steamed him up again okay. Sibson got to watch it as he dives in there, because Lee tends to duck the head a bit, and he may be caught with a butt. Yes, and there's some blood around Sibson's left eye. It looks a bad cut. Definitely looked a head clash to me. Sibson now really under fire. He knows he's in trouble with the cut eye. Hasn't been cut in very many fights. So that really adds to his troubles. He'll have to work hard now in Sibson's corner to staunch that flow. George Francis very experienced at this now. Been around with so many top fighters. They'll need all his skill there to keep that cut okay, keep it under repair, as it were. 1 minute then in round 5, and Sibson in trouble now. And when you think that Lee barely beat the count in the opening round, it looked like 9 3/4, that count, to say the least.
Hold the action. Break out. Step back.
And it's good for Sibson when the referee pulls them apart like that, because that cut could worsen when they're close in. There's some bumping and boring going on. But definitely a few distress signals now from Sibson's cornermen. This they hadn't expected. And certainly Sibson didn't, and he's the one who feels the pain.
Take the gum shield, Mick. Yes, yes, no problem.
Okay.
Superficial. No problem.
So into round 6 then. And somebody said superficial. The referee had a look at it, and he suggested to the doctor that he could come up at the end of this round and re-examine it. And it fooled me. It looks worse than that. They wasted no time in the corner there. George Francis applying the gauze, the adrenaline, and some pressure. So that now puts the fight really in balance. On volume of punches, Sibson probably still ahead. The 3 knockdowns obviously went well against him there. They have a 5-point system in New Jersey. The old-fashioned call from ringside from a supporter, work, Tony, meaning he wants him to go in there and throw some punches. Don't stand off and pose because he's getting caught. Still retain the southpaw stance now, Lee. I must say, Lee looks far more experienced than the guy who's only had 21 fights. Stiff jab there, Lee's turned back now to orthodox again. He hurts with the left-hand jab. Not only a power puncher, he's a nuisance with it. He just won't stand still enough to be hit. Works well to the body, Sibson. That's his best stuff. I think that's how he's got to do. He's got to try and bull his way through this man now. But of course, that's risking getting the cut eye worsening if he does that. Well, it's turned out a much tougher fight than anybody predicted.
I'm scared these bastards are going to stop it. Please, please, tuck up and go out and do it. All right?
Well, round 7, and I'm sure that Mickey Duff put that in the most forcible manner that he could, and no doubt Mr. Sibson understood that all right. Trying to go out and finish him if he can. And there's a shot there of him working on Sibson's eye. Really has patched the eye injury up well there, George Francis. I really did think that they were going to stop it at one point, but the doctor didn't even bother to go up in the corner. So Lee then tried to pick his punches. And again, back to the southpaw style. It's a commentator's nightmare, and a bit of a nightmare too, I think, for Sibson, switching stance like this. I don't remember a boxer doing it so much. Well, I criticised it at one point, but for him it works. The word around the ringside is there's nothing in the pointing at all. It's fairly level, and if anything, the judges may have Sibson still a bit in front. What a difficult opponent he is. 6'2". It's such a good reach, and he uses it to full advantage. Midway then through round 7, scheduled for 10. And can Sibson hang on? A former British and European champion, vacated those titles to fight Marvin Hagler for the World Championship, lost in the 6th round in America. Now wants to put himself back into the reckoning, apart from getting a very useful pay night. But if it was intended as a warm-up, as always, it's a bit too hot for him. Well, win or lose now, Lee will rocket somewhere surely from the 16 ranking, at least to the top 10. Sibson always hanging there, always gritting his teeth. Does that in every fight. Nobody's ever questioned this fellow's ticker. Remember, he knocked out Alan Minter. But it's sharp boxing from Lee. But the piling of the punches is still coming in from Sibson, especially at close quarters. The stool a bit late coming in there for George Francis. And, he needs all the time he can get there working with that swab.
No problem at all. Okay?
There's the bell, and it's round 8. And there you can see a little bit of greasing around Sibson's badly cut left eye, which I would have thought must probably put his fight with Louis Acares in Paris next month in doubt. Depends, of course, how quickly it heals or how he does as this fight goes on. So, punch for punch. And it's going to be a hard job to split them if this keeps up. Sibson's been fairly sharp considering the awkwardness of the opponent. He could really have done with one shorter and a bit more orthodox. He managed to do it with John Collins in this ring. This fellow's much better. And there you are, working, as I say, on the swabs in the corner. And the galls there. Sibson under fire, but comes back again. Oh, no, that wasn't a trip. It looked like a punch to me. And that, yes, Tony Perez is going to give him a mandatory count. That goes well in Sibson's favour now. He could do with this. Well, what a good chance now for Sibson, provided he doesn't walk in there and hang any chin out. It looked as though it might have been a trip, but in fact there was a punch landed. So he proved it before then that when hurt he's at most dangerously. Especially with the southpaw left hand that comes in. Comes in at an awkward angle, but Sibson now climbing on top of him. Oh, and there it is. And really the expression on Sibson's face there is, oh dear, what am I doing here? His pride's hurt, I think. And it's all over as he falls into the ropes here. Tony Perez was right. He had to stop that, and the celebration coming from Donnelly in the 8th round. Let's have a look now, the replay of that one. There it is, the right hand punch. He buckles away from it. And as he goes down, he's out. And here's what he's saying to Birdie Pacheco.
Now, at the end, you had him down, and then he came back and caught you with a flash knockdown. Did you think you could go on, or did you think the fight was properly stopped?
With myself, I think it was a bit premature, because I was up and I was looking and I was cursing myself. I knew where everything was. I was cursing myself. I read all the fingers on Mickey's hand. I was all there. And it just feels sick now because I just got caught going in after I'd caught him, sort of thing. You know, it just caught me cold.
Well, we all have those days, and this was certainly one for you, Tony.
I remember it.